deeply grateful to those who said no to me. Because of that, I learned how to handle things on my own. Albert Einstein. Refusal, often felt as coldness or rejection, is seen through the eyes of gratitude, as a gift disguised as a challenge. When people no longer receive help, no longer rely on the easy nods of others, they are forced to turn inward, to face their own abilities, limits, and personal responsibility. That no is like a door closing behind them, leaving no way back, only the path forward on their own 2 feet. In those moments, dependence fades and self-reliance begins to take shape. We learn to think more deeply, find more creative solutions, and accept the consequences of our choices without blaming others. Like a child who only truly learns to walk when the supporting hand is released, people only truly mature when they are no longer overly protected. Refusals, therefore, become silent teachers, imparting lessons in independence and self-respect. They forge resilience, helping us understand that our worth does not lie in others' approval, but in our ability to stand firm amid difficulties. Looking back, we realize that those very rejections opened the path to inner freedom, where one no longer awaits salvation from outside, but trusts in one's own wisdom and strength. Thus, gratitude for those no's is not a paradox, but the mark of a soul that has learned to turn obstacles into motivation and solitude into the power to resolve one's own life. A smiling person does not mean they have no sorrow. It means they have the ability to cope with that sorrow. William Shakespeare. The inner world of human beings. A smile, often mistaken as a sign of complete happiness, is here restored to its true nature, not the absence of grief, but the result of a tempered spiritual strength. No one passes through life without carrying invisible scars, loss, disappointment, loneliness, or things that cannot be spoken. Yet, some choose not to let sorrow dominate their face and behavior. They smile, not because they are numb, but because they have learned to live with sorrow without letting it control them. That smile is like sunlight breaking through after rain, not erasing the traces of the storm, but proving the sky can still clear. The ability to cope with sorrow is a form of emotional intelligence, knowing how to accept one's feelings, understanding that grief is a natural part of existence, and still choosing to live, connect, and offer warmth. People who smile through sorrow often carry a special depth, for they have walked through darkness and learned not to lose the light within. Their smile is therefore not superficial, but profound, not loud, but enduring. Do not hastily judge people by appearances, and it also encourages us to cultivate our own inner strength, so that when sorrow comes, we do not collapse, but know how to embrace it, move forward, and still smile at life with quiet courage. Opportunity is like the dawn. If you wait too long, you may miss it. William Arthur. The Law of Time and Human Choice. Dawn arrives quietly, without waiting for anyone to be ready. It comes softly after the long night and lasts only a fleeting moment before the sun rises high. Opportunity is the same. It rarely appears in perfect form or announced with fanfare, but often hides in ordinary circumstances, tinged with unease and hesitation. Those who hesitate often tell themselves they need more time to prepare, to be certain, to reduce risk. But that very waiting lets the precious moment slip away forever. Like someone who oversleeps at dawn and wakes to find only harsh midday sun, they realize the pure beauty of sunrise is gone forever. Opportunity does not always return a second time, and if it does, it often comes in a different form, demanding a higher price. This does not encourage blind haste, but emphasizes the importance of awareness and timely courage. Seizing opportunity requires being fully present in the moment, keen enough to recognize the opening right before one's eyes, and brave enough to step forward even when the path is not entirely clear. For the greatest reward of opportunity lies not only in the outcome, but in the very act of daring to choose, daring to begin while the dawn is still misty. When we understand this, we learn to cherish every moment, not surrendering our lives to procrastination, and living with readiness to greet the light the instant a new day begins to break. People will never care about your self-respect. What they care about is the achievements you attain. Therefore, until you have accomplishments, do not overemphasize or exaggerate your own self-respect. Bill Gates, a stark but necessary truth about how the world works. In social life, self-respect is an inner value, quiet and private, while achievement is a visible mark, easily seen and recognized. Most people lack the patience or depth to see inner struggles, silent wounds, or spiritual pride someone is guarding. What they notice and judge first is always tangible results. What you have done, what value you have created, where you stand in the bigger picture. Thus, if someone places self-respect too early as a defensive barrier, easily offended or hurt without a foundation of achievement, they can easily become trapped in dissatisfaction and isolation. This does not mean abandoning dignity or accepting humiliation, but learning to place self-respect in the right place and at the right time. Before proving one's ability through action and results, one needs humility, patience, and the capacity to endure uncomfortable collisions. Like an unrefined sword, if one only cares about keeping its outer shine without daring to put it in the fire, it will never become sharp. Achievement is that very forging process, and when achievement is substantial, self-respect naturally gains weight without needing display or demands for recognition. Then, others do not need reminders to respect you, for the results you create speak for themselves. This does not encourage self-debasement, but calls for realistic maturity. Let action and accomplishment build your standing while keeping self-respect as a solid core within, quietly nurturing will and perseverance to reach the place where respect becomes inevitable, not something begged for. The difference between genius and folly is that genius has limits. Albert Einstein. The more one reflects, the more a profound truth about intellect and humility emerges. Genius is not someone who knows everything, nor someone who believes they stand above all limits. On the contrary, the clearest sign of great intellect is the ability to recognize one's own limits. When a person realizes what they do not know, cannot do, and cannot overcome, they begin to listen, observe, and learn. Limits, in that case, are not prison walls, but contours that give thought shape, preventing intellect from dissipating in complacency. Fools, in contrast, live in the illusion of infinity, believing they understand enough, know enough, are right enough. That very failure to see limits closes the door to growth, like a cup that is full, yet contains only air. Genius is like the ocean, vast yet aware of its shores, aware of depths it cannot yet reach, while folly is like a shallow puddle, imagining itself boundless because it has never seen its bottom. Acknowledging limits does not diminish genius, but makes it greater, for from that arises humility, discipline, and a clear-eyed desire to rise. They know when to stop, know how to doubt themselves, and that very caution protects them from arrogant mistakes. This does not belittle people, but elevates the value of self-awareness. Only when we know we are finite do we truly open the path toward the infinite. Genius is not someone without limits, but someone who is always conscious of them, respects them, and gradually transcends them through intellect, not illusion. Ideals and beauty are identical. The ideal corresponds to the idea, and beauty takes form. Thus, idea and essence are identical. Victor Hugo, In philosophical aesthetics, ideals and beauty are not separate like distant shores, but intertwine, illuminate, and support each other like light and form in a complete painting. There, the ideal is not merely an abstract aspiration of the spirit, but the idea refined and elevated to purity, while beauty is the moment that idea finds physical form to appear in the sensory world. When the ideal corresponds to the idea, it is no longer a vague, distant dream, but becomes an inner principle, guiding the formation of beauty like an invisible seed carrying the structure of an entire radiant tree. Beauty, therefore, is not mere outer decoration, but the natural manifestation of the idea when it reaches fullness, in harmony between content and form. In that manifestation, idea and essence meet and become one, with no gap between what is and what should be. The essence of things, when fully understood, inherently carries aesthetic quality, for it reflects the deep order, meaning, and rationality of existence. Like a beautiful melody, not only for its pleasant sounds, but for its tight inner structure, true beauty brings satisfaction and peace, for it gives us the intuition that the ideal has found its place in reality. Thus, the beholder does not merely see beauty with the eyes, but feels the ideal with the soul and realizes that idea, beauty, and essence are ultimately different names for the same living truth, radiant and full of vitality. Whoever cannot endure poverty cannot attain freedom. Victor Hugo. The essence of human freedom. Poverty here is not only material lack, but a spiritual trial where one confronts the limits of desire, fear of loss, and invisible dependence on comfort. Those who cannot endure poverty are often bound by needs, by anxiety, and by the obsession with holding on to what they have. That very fear turns them into captives, even if outwardly they live in abundance. Conversely, those who can endure poverty walk lightly through life, for they do not let circumstances dictate their dignity or choices. They understand that freedom does not arise from affluence, but from inner strength, from the ability to stand firm when external supports are stripped away. Like a tree growing on rocky ground, its roots must dig deeper and endure more to survive. That very harshness forges in it a stronger life force and freedom to reach the sky. Poverty thus becomes a mirror, revealing human nature. Those dependent on material things tremble when they lose it, while those who master their needs retain freedom even in want. This does not glorify poverty as an end, but stresses that only when one is not enslaved by fear of poverty can one truly live freely, peacefully, and fully with oneself. People lack not strength, but will. Victor Hugo. The condition and potential of human beings. Strength is not merely muscle or visible power, but the sum of intellect, emotion, experience, and innate potential that every person carries within, like a smoldering flame awaiting ignition. Yet that flame only truly blazes when will is present, the invisible wind that determines the direction and intensity of strength. Without will, people are like a sturdy ship with broad sails, yet drifting on the water because it dares not hoist the sails to catch the wind. All capabilities are present, yet none are mobilized to ride the waves. Will is the power to choose to continue when tired, to rise after failure, and to believe in one's path even without seeing the destination. Often, people mistake themselves for weak and powerless, when in truth, they merely lack the determination strong enough to awaken dormant strength. Like rough stone concealing the lines of a statue, only when a patient and resolute sculptor's hand works does the form gradually emerge. Will plays the role of that sculptor, chipping, guiding, and liberating the strength within. Thus, the core issue is not how much capacity one has, but whether one dares to believe in it and persistently turn it into action. When will is ignited, innate strength finds its way, and people realize the greatest limit lies not in ability, but in their own hesitation. It is through suffering that people become angels. Victor Hugo, suffering is the harsh land where illusions are stripped away, where one is forced to confront one's own fragility, limits, and solitude. In that moment, the proud ego dissolves, making way for humility, empathy, and understanding. Suffering smooths the rough edges of selfish instinct, like cold water polishing a sharp stone, revealing a gentler, clearer shape. When people endure loss, injury, or despair, they learn to see the world not only through personal gain, but through compassion for others' pain. That very compassion is the invisible wings lifting one above mere instinct, drawing closer to the qualities of an angel, symbol of kindness, forgiveness, and spiritual light. Not everyone who suffers becomes noble, but only in suffering does one have the chance to transform, turning wounds into wisdom and compassion. Like metal that must pass through red fire to become strong and bright, the human soul also needs trials to be refined. When pain is no longer merely a burden, but becomes a source of understanding and love, one transcends the ordinary state of existence, touching depths of morality and spirit. This does not romanticize suffering, but affirms that only in darkness do people learn to shine, and through suffering they can rise, bearing within them the silhouette of an angel in ordinary life. The world drowns in suffering not because of the crimes of the wicked, but because of the silence of the good. Napoleon Bonaparte. This does not deny the destructive power of evil, but points to a quieter, more dangerous cause: the indifference of those capable of stopping it. Evil is often loud, aggressive, and easily recognized, like a fierce storm, but the silence of the good is like a calm sea, creating conditions for the storm to rage freely. When the good choose silence out of fear, convenience, or thinking, "It does not concern me," they unwittingly cede moral space for evil to dominate. That silence is not neutrality, but a form of passive complicity, for it weakens the voice of justice and leaves victims in isolation. A timely spoken word may not instantly change the world, but it is like a small light in the dark, helping others realize they are not alone and evil has not fully triumphed. Conversely, when the good collectively remain silent, the world becomes distorted, where evil is normalized and pain becomes commonplace. This does not aim to sow guilt, but to awaken moral responsibility. Being good is not merely avoiding evil, but daring to speak out, daring to act when witnessing injustice. For only when conscience raises its voice does the world have a chance to escape the cycle of suffering that silence has quietly nurtured.